Well, my friends, it is time for chapter 24 of Varjak Paw, which, as you know, is written by F.S. Said, and which, as you know, is illustrated by Dave McKean. But did you know it's published by Corgi? It is. Look, it says so there. Published by Corgi, and thanks for letting us read this. Chapter 24 we've got today. Chapter 23 was yesterday, wasn't it? And in chapter 23 we met Sally Bones. Varjak got in a fight with the Razor, learned how to control his moving circles and released his energy and hit Razor, boom, right between the eyes. Razor's head jerked back. Varjak had struck his target, but the big Tom was strong and it was only enough to daze him. He stepped out of Varjak's reach and shook his head as if he couldn't believe he'd been hit. "Enough!" Sally Bones shouted. Varjak looked to the top of the alley, but she wasn't there. "Where did you learn that?" her voice demanded from behind him. He wheeled about. There was the faintest shimmer of white, but she was gone again. "Who taught you?" she hissed from somewhere inside his head, and before Varjak knew what was happening, she had him pinned flat on the ground, white bones above him, single blue eye burning into him, and he lost the rhythm of his breath, and everything sped up again, and he was out of slow time. "Answer me," she said. "Who taught you?" He couldn't move. He couldn't hide. "Jalal!" he cried, helpless. Sally Bones' one eye glittered like the moon. "Jalal?" she said. "Jalal the Paw? He's been dead for 100 years. What could you know of Jalal? What do you know?" "Slow time," gasped Varjak. "Moving circles." "You?" Sally Bones blinked. Something that might have been fear flashed across her face. "Is it you?" Before Varjak could answer, a long growl filled the air and everyone turned to face it. At the top of the alley, blocking the way out, was a new kind of monster. It was black. It was bristly and almost as big as a man. Its mouth was full of pointed yellow teeth which dripped with drool. It barked loudly and it took a step towards the cats. Terror ripped through Sally Bones' gang. Razor, Lugo, Wes, they all bolted. They scrambled up the fire escapes, over the walls, away from the monster, away from the alley. "Come back!" screamed Sally Bones. "Cowards! We can beat it if we fight together." But they weren't listening. Her gang scurried to safety as fast as they could. The thin white cat shook her head with contempt. She stood up, reluctantly, letting Varjak go free. "We'll finish this another time, Varjak Paw," she said. There was a shimmer of white, and she was gone. In a single heartbeat, Varjak and Holly were alone with the monster. It looked confused. It barked at the walls, but didn't try to follow the cats up. "So those Sally Bones stories are true," breathed Holly. She shook her head. "I don't know what was going on back there, but I'd swear you had 'em worried." Varjak's head was whirling. Sally Bones knew about Jalal. She knew about the way, much more than he did. She wasn't even scared of this monster. "Thanks for keeping quiet about the alleys," said Holly. "Come on, let's get out of here before it gets us," she urged. The monster began to lurch towards them. Its big blunt claws clacked on the pavement as it came. It was incredibly powerful. Even its tail looked as if it could knock them senseless. Varjak focused. What would Jalal do? Second skill. Awareness. He looked into its eyes. They were cloudy black. There was pain in those eyes, and there was fear, almost terror, in its scent. It barked again. Deafening sound. Varjak didn't flinch. He just kept looking into its eyes. If he hadn't once stood before a roaring dog, he would have run away, but compared to those metal monsters, this frightened, barking animal was friendly. "What are you doing?" hissed Holly. "Come on, let's go." Varjak looked up. He could probably make it over a wall or onto a window ledge, like Sally Bones' gang. He gambled instead on touching his instincts, and this time he wasn't going to run. He wasn't going to panic. He was going to stand his ground and face it down. Don't be afraid, he said to the monster, in the calmest voice he could manage. It opened its jaws. They were big enough to swallow him whole. Don't be afraid, he whispered, and then it sprang at him. Oh, slow time! Holly leapt for cover, moving circles, but Varjak stood his ground, shadow walking. Wrong. The monster smashed into him. The world turned upside down, and everything went black. Again. Oh, end of chapter 24, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed that. We will leave him there. When everything goes black, what kind of a chapter do we normally get next? Well, we'll find out if you're right next time I read you a chapter. But until then, have a lovely day. Be good, be kind to each other. And I will see you soon.